grade.
I think that's going a little too far. That's my opinion.
Well, if you're being slandered on by Brian Johnson, and I realize we're live streaming right now,
That's all right.
saying that an opportunistic journalist is spreading lies. How could it be lies if it was dictated in Kerrang magazine 40 years ago?
It's not that. It's just starting to, you know, as a journalist, he's great. He did his research. There's no doubt about it. I looked at the book, I read it, and he makes a great case for, especially You Shook Me All Night Long.
Mm.
And I'm going to agree with him. I think Bond wrote some of those melodies and probably wrote a majority of the lyrics to some of those songs. I agree with that. But I don't think he wrote everything. I mean, who do you, giving the dog a bone, which I've said, what do you do for money, honey? Let me put my love into you. That's too crass for Bon Scott style, you know?
But you don't think a song like What Do You Do for Money, Honey, is it lined up with his sense of humor?
Yes, but he actually had a sense of humor. It's a little too crass, you know, going down to the filler, down, and he was he wrote a song about oral sex, Go Down. And it's explicit, but it's more nudge, nudge, wink, wink than that is.
It's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I'm not saying Brian Johnson is being serious there either. Obviously, he's, you know, he was, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think. I mean, obviously, Brian Johnson was directing his comments at him. That's obvious, you know.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause you can see what he said.
Some may also think that it was directed at that Walker guy, that former AC/DC roadie that wrote a book about it. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, those stories have been going around for probably not when Bond died, but a few years when Bond started becoming a legend.
Hmm.
I mean, he became a legend in death, but I mean, as the decades have gone on, his stature has risen. So these stories have been spreading forever. He's the only one who kind of put it together as a journalist, in my opinion. You know, Christopher Walker, whatever his name is, Clinton Walker, that's his name.
That's it.
Yeah, he didn't. He kind of hinted at it. Mick Wall didn't find any evidence, so he didn't. He kind of discussed a rumor, but he didn't play it much credence. He didn't dismiss it, but he didn't go on and on and on about it. You know,
Manny, we are due for a second interview with Mick Wall.
Are we?
Well, yeah, because Mick had a blast when he was on the show with us last year, and he said he would love to come back on. He's very gracious for our knowledge and sincerity. And, you know, it's funny. We're saying this as we're live, so we haven't actually started doing the episode yet. But we love giving you this free stuff before the show starts. But yeah, no, Mick was he was very cool. And watching the episode again yesterday, because there were a couple of snippets that I wanted to use to reconstitute just to create more content. Yeah, and he was really enjoying himself looking at it.
Oh, he was a great interview because Lou, all you had to say was one word, and he just went, you know.
It's like he was surprised I remembered the band Mama's Boys, but there's a reason for it because I love their album Power and Passion.
Well, when we told him Bow Wow, he was like floored, you know.
And he called them Loudness on
Yes, in the interview. Yep. Oh.
Yeah. A Bow Wow or Bow Wow.
They were used to be Bow Wow and then became Bow Wow.
Yeah, they're another Japanese metal band. So, you know.
Yeah, I just bought two Japanese metal. Well, Strawberry Path and Earthquake. I don't remember. Anyway, pretty good stuff. Wayne, you want to?
Sounds exciting.
It is exciting.
I didn't get anything.
I didn't.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Moon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Maddox.
Hello, welcome to Red Salad Review.
2 live shows in 1 week.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's a lot
Yeah.
of shows. We're very busy guys. And you asked me, what did I get? I got a few things in a yard sale the other day, but they're all in shitty condition, except for this one, Elvis Costello,
That's a great album.
Kiss Killers.
Awesome
That's
album.
That's hard to find nowadays.
It is very hard to find, all scratched up. Kiss Dynasty.
Love that
My
album.
Gateway Kiss album.
I think I have like 3 of these though.
Is that one scratched to hell too?
Most likely. Let's see here. Oh yeah.
Wait, you got Dynasty in there.
Yeah,
Did you
what's
even
up with
look-
that?
Did you even look at the shit you buy?
Oh shit! No, I did. Oh, wait,
That's
look
the
at that.
Dynasty vinyl and a
Yeah.
Destroyer slip. Oh my
Oh.
god.
Cool. Yeah, it's
Michael
still scratched.
Bradbull, did you put them up to this?
It's still
Yeah.
it's scratched, which sucks because I've been looking for that on record. That's cool. I didn't notice that. Actually, I
Well-
did take it out. I guess I just didn't realize what I was doing.
Well,
I've
bright side,
done that too, dude.
you have a rare copy of Dynasty and a Destroyer slip disc cover, slip vinyl cover.
Yeah, and this.
Ah, great soundtrack.
So yeah, I never heard of it. I actually never even saw this movie, but I thought it
Oh,
was
I
a lot
wish
of
I
cool
still
things
had the
in it.
DVD. I'd send it to you because I
Hey,
fucking hate it. But
it's a-
anyway,
You hated the movie,
I
really?
hate the movie. You like it? You into it?
Of course I did. I mean, when you're 13
Oh, when I
years
was a
old,
kid, I liked it, but as an adult,
when
I
you're
don't.
13 years old, you don't have access to the Playboy channel. That's the closest you got to seeing boobs.
Yeah. And then I got this too, which
The
is
best of the four solo albums.
really scratched up. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah.
Oh man,
Did Ace do lines of coke on that record?
He might have. God.
at the store I went to, this guy had 2 Scorpions albums, and he was really cool because he never looked at them. So he looked at them and goes, "I can't sell these to you. I'll just give them to you."
Oh.
And same thing with a Kiss album that was scratched to hell.
Which Scorpions
really-
records?
And I got
Animal Mag. Oh, that's great.
and it's the German release or the European release.
Yeah, I
because
can tell. That's the one.
Essence.
That's the one I used to have because I couldn't find an American version of it.
And that's
Now,
remastered.
Does that have the original 1981 lineup in terms of song listing?
That
it's-
is the remastered version, so it's in the original order it's supposed to be in.
Oh, okay. Because my record, I didn't realize it when I owned it, that the songs weren't in order.
Right. On the back of the sleeve, it's in order, but then when you look at the record, yours, it's not in order. It's in order of.
Yeah, well,
guess
I
the-
don't have it. I don't have it on vinyl. I have it on CD, and I think the
Yeah.
CD put it in
CDs
right
is-
order.
This,
Okay.
no, the original CD didn't put it in order either. Only the remasters do.
Okay, so better question. What's the first track on side one? Is it Fanfare or The Oath?
Fanfare.
Okay, there you go. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Mine was the Oath.
Right. So it's because it's wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
Well,
the
you know-
reason why The Oath was the first track on side one when they first released it was because the label thought that was the catchier song that would get people's attention, not
There is
realizing the
no-
rest of the album deviated from that song
Right.
stylistically.
there is no catchy song on there other than I personally like the album a lot.
It's in one of my favorite
It's an
Kiss
awesome album.
albums.
Yeah, I love it, but they don't like it. Honestly, I know I wasn't going to do it, but it reminds me of more something Alice Cooper would have done, except not as dramatic. See,
Is
I
that because-
told you.
Is that because Bob Ezrin produced it?
Yes,
I
that's
thought so.
exactly why it
Well,
reminds me of that.
it's funny because if you watch my episode with Michael Brandvold, he explained it perfectly.
What do you say?
Yes, timeline is everything. So timeline for you as a fan, speaking to me, he's like, how old were you when you discovered it? I said I was 14, so it was 1995. He said,
Yeah.
okay, you don't remember what it was like in 81 when that album came out. They had Dynasty, which sold 4 million copies, Unmasked, which had gone gold barely, and then The Elder, which was a gigantic nosedive. So there's a reason why for Kiss it's such a sore point. And then you think they'd rebound with Creatures of the Night, right? Musically,
so?
stylistically, no. Half the tour, the dates, they sometimes played to a half-filled arena. Some dates they played less to arenas of
I know that's a
1,000 or
fact.
less.
Because I saw them at Lakeland Civic Center when I was 12 years old. It was one of my first concerts, and it was half filled. I also remember right before Lick It Up, this is how I still remember, I used to, as a kid, at least when the 80s, you would write on your folder your favorite bands,
I did that well into my
You-
into the 90s.
You probably wrote on a rock though, Manny.
Well, I did. I chiseled. But anyway, I one time put Kiss, and this guy goes, Kiss sucks. A year later,
His mama swallowed. What?
yeah, oh, yes, she should have, because he sucked too. So a year later, Lick It Up comes out. It's all over MTV. They take off their makeup, which is a big deal, believe it or not, even though there was, to quote Paul Stanley, they were selling more steak than sizzle. There were only two original guys by that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, suddenly he's a huge Kiss fan. And it's amazing. I saw that interview with him, and I agree with him. I became a fan about right when Creatures came out at their low point, but heavy metal was making a comeback, and they were considered a heavy metal band at that time. So,
See, I never, because I was too young to remember it, I never considered that heavy metal ever really went away. I mean, yeah, disco was all the rage at one point, and new wave came in and took over for a while. But when you watch those rock concerts from the 70s, the late 70s and the early 80s, when did artists like Sabbath or Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush play to an empty house?
they didn't.
They
didn't. That's all a myth. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I just think it's funny, metal's dead. And I'm like, well, even when they said it was dead in the 90s, yeah, tell that to the European fans. Tell that to the South American fans. Metal was never dead.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, the veteran artists were suffering, but there was death metal that was actually respected by critics. It's just funny. I think they were just trying to be hip, but it's not the death metal bands. I mean, critics suddenly loving, this genre and all this shit.
Heavy metal has never died. It has just evolved. That's all it does. It just keeps evolving.
Yes, like Severed Angel is an evolution of bands that came before it.
That's right.
Actually,
anyways,
I agree with it.
Wayne, are you done with stuff that you got?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember anything I got. That's about it.
What about you?
I got a Mr. Freeze figure. If you want to see that, I'll have to go get it. But
okay, so is that from the Batman 66 or?
Yes.
Okay, very cool. So Victor
that is
Buono.
cool.
No, it wasn't. Victor
and I
Buono.
got the bat. I'll go ahead. I'll go get it.
All right, cool.
Go
So I love this album, and I had purchased it on iTunes about 8 years ago, but for some reason, the album never synced to my phone. So I ended up buying like the hard physical copy of it, and it is Whitechapel's 2012 self-titled release.
I don't know anything about those guys, man.
They are from Tennessee. They fall under the umbrella of deathcore, but we actually reviewed their last album, Kin, and it sounds like anything but deathcore. Like they evolved their sound, and I appreciated what they did with it. I think every band needs to evolve and find their voice. But for me, when I first heard this album in 2014, I was completely blown away by it. And like I said, I realized Whitechapel fell under the umbrella of deathcore. To me, they were better than most of the deathcore and even death metal bands. So I highly recommend this album. It's actually one of my 10 favorite metal albums ever.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, if you're cool with death metal vocals,
I'm fine
and
with it.
hardcore breakdowns, you'll like it. So what else did I get? I also, it being a certain special day today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Happy birthday, Lou Mavs.
Thank you so much.
Lou, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 21 with 21 years of experience. Do the math, fools. So
I don't want us to be the old man in every group I'm in. All right,
you look better than us, Manny. Anyways, so this being as I said yesterday, my favorite American horror series, I actually have a 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray copy of the original John Carpenter's Halloween.
Oh, that's so cool.
This comes with 3 discs, 1 UHD, 2 Blu-ray, and it includes the television cut where they actually shot scenes for it as they were filming Halloween 2. And they used that for the television showings of Halloween on whatever network it was on. When I first saw it, I saw it on Fox 5. So, but yes, the classic, and I'd have to say the one horror character to take the throne of Michael Myers, Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Yeah.
And I ended up actually finally getting a T-shirt of one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. Finally got it.
Oh, that is so cool. I
Thank
love
you.
UFO.
Now, I don't know
love
if this is
UFO.
authentic or not because it
Who
was
cares?
on Amazon.
It's cool.
It looks
Yes,
kind of fake.
it does look kind of fake, but it looks better than the Halloween shirt I got from
Yes, that
Amazon.
was terrible.
Oh my god, the thing stretched across my belly. But this was on the UFO store on Amazon, and again, I question if it's authentic or not because the ghost shirts weren't, and I never got them. Anyway,
Wow. Yeah, I never buy stuff like that from Amazon.
I don't think
whatsoever.
Phil Moog is looking at that store very closely. Wayne, what do you got to show off before I show this
And
off?
oh, go ahead.
All right. Finally got in the mail Quiet Riot 2.
Oh.
And I was asking who is running this? Why is this out? And in the liner notes, Frankie Benelli's wife wrote the liner notes here. So I'm assuming she is now in charge of Kevin Dubrow and her ex-husband's or her
Which is
widow.
funny because he's not on those albums.
No, he's not. But I guess when Dubrow passed away, he owns the name now.
it's
The name-
possible.
Yeah, I mean, the name was owned by the management for a while, and that's why in the late 70s, they were able to fire Kevin Dubrow and bring in Paul Shortino, if you guys remember that.
That was 87.
Is 87?
Yes.
And then I don't know. But I'm guessing, I really don't know the story, but I'm really surprised that this has been officially sanctioned. I don't, obviously Rhodes Estate gets a piece of the action, but I don't know how that works.
Well, I'll take those two albums over their last Hollywood Cowboys or whatever it was called.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah,
that-
even the one before them was bad. And I like James Durbin as a singer, and I thought as a fit live, he fit very well with Quiet Riot. But in terms of the quality of the output of albums, no way.
Whatever you may think of Kevin Dubrow, if you don't like his songs, you don't like his songs, but at least he could write a catchy tune, even toward the end. But
This is true, but
I think they should have buried Quiet Riot with him. That's my opinion.
I unfortunately had the mispleasure of meeting Mr. Kevin Dubrow.
Was he a jerk?
He was a douchebag. That's the best way I could put it. And I hate to speak ill of the dead, but
If he was alive, wouldn't you say that? So you're not speaking.
well,
ill
I
of the
said
dead.
something horrible to him as he as I walked away from the club. I said, "Thank God Randy Rhoads died before you made a fucking dime off his back."
Jeez.
And if I could take it back today, I wouldn't. But
Well, there you go.
I still love Mental Health as a record. I still think it's great. And I mean, look, every musician has a bad night. It happens. You go from opening arenas for Black Sabbath in 1983 to playing the Basement Voodoo Lounge in Bayside, Queens to 50 people in 2000.
Oh wow.
With the classic lineup. So, I get it. But if you're gonna wait an hour and a half to go on stage because the promoter doesn't want to pay you, I get it. Phooey on the promoter for not paying you. But there's no reason why you should be going on at 1:30 in the morning and giving a half-ass show and being a dick to your fans. So
Yeah,
whatever.
especially I agree with you. I
Well,
agree.
I have a special guest for Halloween. For
Rudy
this
Sarzo?
episode. No, Kevin Dubrow. I dug him up.
Come on, eat your brains.
I had a skull down here somewhere, and I was looking for it. I can't find
All my hit songs are from Slade. What?
it.
Well, they were.
Some non-music related stuff. I got the
Ooh.
Bat
Whoa,
Cycle.
that's cool.
That's pretty cool, right? I didn't think it
Yeah.
would come in such a big box.
Does it come with its own bat shark repellent?
No, that's probably
Ah,
Ah,
it's probably the next thing they're gonna release. And then Mr. Freeze, like I mentioned before.
I've got of that series. I got the Batman and the Robin. It's on my wall, but I haven't bought the
Yeah.
any others.
They're getting ridiculous. And this just came in the mail today.
Which is
Anybody tell what that is?
It is from the Vatican,
Well, maybe if
the
I put it this
Satanic
way,
Vatican.
if I put it that way, it's not.
That's true.
It is.
What is it? A ghost? What is it? A Papa figure?
Papa Emeritus 2.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
the shortest lived Papa.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it comes on an extra head of without the makeup, and comes with a microphone and cross and all that. But this is from Super 7.
Well, the
Have
only one I'm going to buy is the Bon Scott one.
that should be out, I think. I don't know.
I'll have to look. Super 7, right?
Yeah, and that's who put that out. That is an ultimate figure. So I forgot I ordered that thing. That was like a long time ago.
If you get it, we should send it to Jess.
He
Well,
probably
he'd
has
like that. He wouldn't like a Brian one.
No, we'll send them to Brian one too.
No,
one.
cold, my friend, cold.
No, I
With,
actually like the
He sent him
got-
one with a pin sticking in it,
yeah.
or Brian Johnson voodoo doll.
Yeah. Ooh.
I walk in the park.
Got a shot in the dark.
I don't like Brian Johnson. No, he's no Bon Scott, but who is?
He's no Bon Scott, but he is the lead singer for AC/DC, and he's been there for a few years. So I think
Only a few. It
I
just
think I think
As long
he's
as I've
doing
been
okay.
alive.
I think it's been all right. But all right,
With
so
the
it's,
flick of the switch, you blow your sky high.
all right. You done now?
I think.
Oh no, we're gonna do this all night. Okay, Wayne, go ahead.
Name that AC/DC song. Go.
Ugh.
Giving a dog a bone.
That's it.
All right. Now,
Here's
today,
another one for you. Yeah.
what do you do for money, honey?
My God, you are an ace at
Oh
this
my
shit.
God, you are an ace, man.
Yes, I know my AC/DC.
Here's the last one. Yeah.
Money talks.
Oh my God, give him a cigar. He's awesome. And I lost my headphones.
Look, Wayne, since we're talking about Batman, here's one I
Oh.
found at the flea market loose,
Hello, old
Oh,
chum.
very cool.
and his mask can come off. So
Oh, very cool.
yeah, they model after those Mego figures. All right, Wayne, do your Iron Maiden
All
thing,
right.
sir.
We are doing, before we do the Iron Maiden thing, one last thing. This is going to be our last show for a while, maybe forever. No, not forever. But we all need a break. So we're taking a little break and to recharge our batteries and come up with some really good shows when we come back, if we ever come back. But we'll probably come and do something for the end of the year, maybe a show or two in between sometime. But just need a little break for now. Don't get too excited. Don't get too worried or excited that we're never going to come back. We'll be back.
We have lives, people. We need to get to them for a little bit. We have to come back to reality.
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things I'm putting off because of this show. There's just no time to do everything. So this will hopefully give me some time. I still got to edit some videos that we have or some cover songs that we've done. So there's a lot of stuff that hasn't, that's still yet to come. So stay tuned. But until then, this is Judas Priest versus Iron Maiden, the final battle.
Thank God.
Thank God. All right. Judas Priest, Firepower. It is the 18th studio album released in 2018. It is the band's first studio album since 1988's Ram It Down, to be produced by Tom Allom, and the first one with Andy Sneap as co-producer. The album sold around 49,000 copies in the United States within the first week of release, debuting at number 5. Making it the band's highest charting album in the US. The album also reached number 5 in the UK, making it their first top 10 album in the UK since British Steel. As far as my review of it, when I heard it, when I heard Andy Sneap would be producing the album, I knew they were finally going to have a really good sounding album, especially after Redeemer of Souls. They really had to redeem themselves from that one. It's funny too, because as I was reading something where it seemed like Halford didn't like the sound of that last album, and maybe even his vocal performance. He says Firepower is something he can listen to now without self-criticism. It doesn't matter how many records they've made. They're always a new experience you can get with a new producer. We've always made that perfectly clear. We know the value of recording with an outside producer. On Firepower, he was encouraged, coached, and captured, which speaks a lot because, like I did mention in that episode, I felt like his performance wasn't typical Halford. I felt like he was like holding back or something. Even the band as a whole, I think something was missing with that album. So seeing that, they had a producer on this one, and it's, something that helped them out, and it worked. So they made the right choice, and it shows not only in the production, but in the songs and the performances as well. This sounds like Priest should. There's actually not one song in here I feel I would skip, and I think this is probably one of the few Priest albums I could listen to all the way through. Now I haven't heard it in a while since it's been out, but listening to it for this show, some of the songs did come back to me, which I can't say from previous albums. So in all, for some reason, it just turns out to be the final Priest album. Oh no, if it turns out to be the final Priest album, it would be a good album for them to go out on, as I think it's their strongest and most focused album since Halford just came back to the band. So in all, I think it's a good album. I like pretty much almost all the songs on it, and I can't say anything bad about anything because, like I said, this is how Priest should sound. This is Redeemer of Souls should have sounded like this, and I probably would have liked it more. But unfortunately it doesn't. But we have Firepower. So, Lou?
Firepower is my second favorite Judas Priest album in their discography.
In the whole entire discography, huh?
Oh my God. So, like, there's very few bands where I could say that the last or most recent album that they did holds up with the classic material that I grew up with and love and cherish as much as I do. One of the only other bands that I could say that about was Rush. I thought Clockwork Angels was a masterpiece of an album. And honestly, the biggest battle that I have with myself over Rush is which album do I like more? Clockwork Angels, Farewell to Kings, or Hemispheres? So I guess it depends on the day. You ask me how I feel, but Clockwork Angels is the best Rush album, and I think Firepower is the best full album that I could thoroughly say I've enjoyed every song since Defenders, which is my favorite. From the opening title track and some of my other favorite songs, Never the Heroes, Rising from Ruins, Spectre, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Eye on the Sparrow from the Beretta theme TV show.
Wow. Wow.
Trader's Gate, No Surrender. I mean, there's not one bad song. And even the instrumental interlude, Guardians, is just, you hear that and you think like Priest is coming, like that would be like great intro music for them to come out to during their show. So, once again, Richie Faulkner, in my opinion, proves to be the MVP of Judas Priest. The way he plays, the way he writes, the way he solos. I think you'd be lying to yourself if you didn't say that him and Scott Travis didn't add new firepower, no pun intended, or new, boiling blood to Judas Priest. Do I miss KK? Yes. Do I miss Glenn Tipton's input? Well, I miss Glenn because Glenn is a classic member of Priest, but I have to say that the guitar playing duo of him and Andy Sneap live, amazing. I saw them 2 times on the Firepower tour, and it was solid. It was just as solid as when I saw Priest the first time. And I mean, you can't go wrong. Richie Faulkner is Priest's golden boy. So, it's and I understand that Priest is getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year under musical excellence. To me, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't mean anything. But if you're not even going to include Richie Faulkner in there, I mean, come on. You had Josh Klinghoffer.
They're not
the Red Hot.
to
What's that?
They're not including him?
No.
Yeah, why is he not included?
Yeah, how's that?
Junior member, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. Black Sabbath didn't include Dio, or they didn't include Dio, which is bullshit. I get not including Ian Gillan and Glenn Hughes, but Ronnie James Dio didn't get
Yeah, that's
inducted
kinda
with
weird.
Black Sabbath. That's
I'm
crap.
I mean, well, this is why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as an organization disgusts me, because of their exclusivity or their inclusivity or their selectivity. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
And honestly, Jan Warner can freaking suck a dick for all I care. He really can. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame means nothing to me. Priest doesn't need the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we as metal fans don't need the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Speaking of which, when Kiss was inducted, it was only the original lineup, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't you have
Well-
thought to have inducted Eric Carr at least?
Eric and Bruce Kulick. What about him?
Well, he
Okay,
did
I
last
get Eric.
longer than Vinnie Vincent and Mark St. John. So yeah, I could see,
I can see excluding Vinnie Vincent, Mark St. John, but Eric Carr.
that was wrong. But
Anyway, we'll have to have a bit an episode way in the future on how clueless they are. But you know what? Such a cliche, it's not even worth doing, really.
yeah. But the point is, Firepower is the best shit that they've done in almost 40 years. So
Do you
good
think
on them.
do you think Richie is like one of the best replacement of an original member in any band, basically?
No,
Absolutely.
I think he's the best replacement member for any band.
Absolutely, he is.
Because usually
Absolutely.
replacement of an original member, they get a lot of shit. But I think Richie's, he's what am I trying to say? Earned his spot, pretty much.
Well, also take into account the fact that what was his first tour with Priest? The Epitaph tour, which was supposed to be their farewell.
Yeah.
And if that's not a trial by fire, going out with Priest on their supposed farewell tour and them realizing, hey, this works. We're playing better than we ever have before. And even though I know you hate Redeemer of Souls, I love it. But for me, for them to come out with Redeemer of Souls after Richie officially joined and then Firepower, no brainer.
Mm.
He passed his trial by fire. So
Yeah.
I think him and Brian Johnson, which we talked about earlier, are the best replacement members in rock history in a way. I'm not kidding. Because
What Jesse just joined the chat. He wants a word with you, Manny.
he said, "You Yankee twats." What?
you cunt. Anyway,
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that Bruce is
okay, three. You're right. Bruce Dickinson. I'd have to say you're right. I didn't think about him, but
I'd say Blaze, but whatever. Manny.
Blaze. Firepower kicks ass. I love the album. Every damn song sounds great. The lyrics are back to being what they should be. There's a cartoonish aspect in one or two songs, but never the hero. Great lyrics. I mean, that actually has something to say. The production is incredible. Unlike the last album, and maybe Lou's right. I need to go listen to that album for the songs, but I didn't like the production, and I'm not a production guy. Yeah, but I'm not an audio,
An audiophile.
yeah, but I love the way this album sounds. It's crisp, and the songs just kick, and everything about it is incredible. I like when older bands like Judas Priest, you mentioned Rush, even AC/DC earlier, who are like saying the hell with commercial considerations. Their albums aren't going to sell what they used to anyway, and they just do it for themselves. They're hardcore fans, and it turns out that it's usually the right decision, because then that album starts selling, because it starts selling to people who never even bothered listening to the old classic albums. It's really good. Aerosmith, if they ever make another album, should listen to people like Judas Priest, because new Aerosmith's not going to get played. Stop with the outside songwriters. Do what these guys are doing, And it's not just Judas Priest. Kiss, I know they don't record anymore, but Monster, whether you like it or not, that was their own music. That was their own artistic bent. And I wish more artists would do stuff like that. Anyway, excellent album. I wish I had more to say, but I don't want to turn into, Love Fest, but I do love it. Excellent album. next.
It's hard to say anything negative about it because it's a good album. So.
Even the cover is cool. Even the
It is. Even though I did hear a lot of people bitch about that cover, saying it's stupid looking, but I think it's cool. It fits right in there with their.
It's
stuff,
kind
you
of a
know?
throwback to like
Right.
their classic 80s era.
Yeah,
It
in a
is
modern way.
absolutely. They almost in the color scheme too, and I like the fact that they look back to look forward. If that makes sense, you know.
Unlike Black Sabbath did with 13. Yeah.
Okay, Tony Iommi wants a word with you because it's about Rick Rubin. Remember, he was sick. If Tony Iommi was feeling better, do you think he'd let him, Rick Rubin, pretend you're in 1970? He would have knocked him out.
Tony Iommi was healthy when he sold half his share of the name Black Sabbath to Ozzy, which I'm sorry, Ozzy does not deserve. Fuck Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah, but wasn't Iommi going to
not.
close shop anyway on it? He
Say that
wasn't
again.
wasn't he going to close shop on Black Sabbath anyway? He wasn't going to get anyone else out after Dio died.
Well, no, the reason why Ozzy went after him was because apparently he was going to go out on tour with Glenn Hughes to celebrate the DEP sessions and Fused, and I was going to, former Black Sabbath members, and Ozzy put a stop to it when he put it in when he sued Iommi for half the name.
But Iommi owned the name for 30 years.
Doesn't matter because according to Sharon, the name Black Sabbath meant nothing if Ozzy wasn't in it.
Well, tell that to all the European fans that crowded, these when Tony Martin was with them. In the United States, it didn't mean much, but everywhere else, they were doing pretty good business with Tony Martin.
Well, we saw the video footage ourselves. We saw that they, played to packed houses, but how much were they making? We don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying that Black Sabbath. Look, if Tony Iommi steps on stage, it's Black Sabbath. Period. End of story. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Iron Maiden Senjutsu. Senjutsu, Japanese, loosely translated as tactics and strategy. It is the 17th studio album released in September 2021. It is the band's first studio album in nearly 6 years, following the Book of Souls, marking the longest gap between two Iron Maiden studio albums. This is also their second studio album to be a double album, and their first album since Power Slave to have no songwriting contributions from guitarist Dave Murray, as well as as well as the first since Virtual 11 to feature multiple songs written by bassist Steve Harris alone. As far as my review goes, when I heard this was another double album, I was really not ready for it, but it's Maiden, so of course I was going to give it a chance. I was away on vacation and heard the new single, The Writing on the Wall, and at first listen, I did not like it at all. Then they released Stratego, and that song sounded much more like Maiden than I wanted to hear. When the album was finally released, Writing on the Wall really grew on me, hearing it within the album. The album starts off slow with Senjutsu, and I usually hate slow openers, but I really like this song for how melodic the chorus is. Overall, the album has a lot of ups and downs, and I don't mean in song quality, but it's not just full of long, boring, slow songs, but I think there's a lot of really good mix of everything, and it's sequenced correctly because this album is over an hour and 20 minutes long, but for some reason, I never feel like it's that long. After the last two albums, like kind of similar to how I felt with Priest, where is that this is what I needed to hear from Maiden, especially with songs like The Time Machine, The Parchment, and the closing song Hell on Earth. But really the album as a whole is probably the best one since Brave New World. To me, the songs are memorable, and again, similar to the Priest album, I haven't listened to this lately, but I remembered the songs, and that's what I like about both of these bands, memorable songs. And we got that with Senjutsu. Normally, I'd say the songs need to be shortened, but here I think they finally did everything right. I know some of them are a little bit long, but they're not like 10 minutes long. And like I said, I feel like this album, even though it's an hour and 21 minutes, it doesn't feel that long because the songs keep you, or at least keep me, engaged in what the song is progressing, towards the end of the songs or whatever. So I like this album a lot. I think it's really, really good. What about you, Lou?
I like Senjutsu. overall, I'd say it's the one album produced by Kevin Shirley. I think it's his best production with the band.
Hmm.
That being said, in terms of song quality, I prefer Book of Souls. I thought Book of Souls was a better album. However,
I think that's the last show. All right, go ahead.
oh, very funny. However, I do have to admit that some of the great songs. So I actually, there are 6 perfect Maiden songs on this album for me, and they include the title track. I love Writing on the Wall. I loved them when I first heard it because
You're
it
still a
was
child. Who are you writing on the wall?
very funny. Because
Use crayons.
No, erasable marker. I mean, I just thought it was cool to hear Maiden actually go a different route. And I think that's what I didn't like about Stratego was the fact that, it was the galloping bass line.
Maiden doing Maiden, but they haven't done it in like 2-3 albums, so I needed to hear that.
Well, what was the last album that I remembered from? Oh dear Lord, come on, no, not El Dorado.
Dance of Death.
Yeah, El Dorado had the galloping bass line. Okay, you haven't heard it in 11 years. Oh God, give or take 11 years. It's still 2 albums difference. Lost in a Lost World, another perfect track. Days of Future Past, Darkest Hour, and Death of the Celts. And I like Hell on Earth too. So those songs I love, and I'll finally give credit to the production. It's good on this album. I still prefer Book of Souls, but it was a step for Maiden in the right direction. And by the way, I'm sure many Iron Maiden fans out there have heard that after they wrap up the Legacy of the Beast tour, they are going to be going on I think it's called the Future Past tour, where they're going to be playing selections from Senjutsu and my second favorite Maiden album, Somewhere in Time. They're finally revisiting it.
Oh, that's cool.
Which means that we may actually be able to hear them play Alexander the Great live. And
I highly doubt that, but okay.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to play.
I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off Maiden fans if they don't hear that song on that tour.
We'll see.
But anyway, hopefully we'll get it. But yeah, I think Maiden taking that route for their next tour with this album and Somewhere in Time, it's a good route.
Very interesting. What about you, Manny?
I love the album, which surprised me because I was kind of disappointed with Book of Souls. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It wasn't memorable to me, where this one is memorable. I have to agree with you. There's traces of old Iron Maiden in there, but maybe it was a production again. I don't know. We don't spend a lot of time talking about production, but it had a great sound to it. I thought the songs are great. I was really surprised how much I like it when you bring up the songwriting credits about Steve Harris. His songs used to be my favorite when he wrote Alone, and then over the years they became some of the ones that I didn't care for. But on this album, they were perfect. Do you guys like prog rock at all? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it had a prog rock influence, but not as pronounced as the other ones. It was more heavy metal,
This is the most Maiden sounding they've sounded in the last few albums. So
yeah, I agree. And I do like prog rock, and I don't mind long songs, but I'm glad that they didn't really explore. And I was kind of afraid with 2 albums that we're going to get all these long songs. I think they're pretty lengthy though. I think they're about 7 minutes average, right?
Yeah, they're but they're not like overly long.
And not only that, they're not repeating itself. That's one thing James complained about. Like Angel and the Gambler, do you need a savior? And there was other songs that they would repeat. They didn't do it this time. I don't know if Kevin Shirley did some editing or suggesting, which is his job as a producer, but overall, excellent album. And it's nice that these 2 veteran bands are looking forward and not just backwards by embracing their past, but also looking forward. Anyway, great albums. And if Iron Maiden or Judas Priest go out on these 2 albums, they go out on a creative high. But I hope they continue recording music. And this is the shortest review we've ever done, gentlemen. Anyway,
it is. I know we ended on time. But yeah, like you said, I'm glad these two albums exist, and if they do end up being their final albums, then that's fine by me because they're actually very good. So, because I'm afraid of what the next album might possibly sound like, because you never know.
I mean, it's
Yeah, but
unfortunate that we didn't get to hear James's opinion.
Oh,
James is currently on vacation.
Manny can summarize it.
Go ahead.
no chunka riffs. Where's the screamy vocals? Halpert sings too high. Oh, that sucks. All right, there you go.
It's pretty spot on, sir. Spot on.
I thought James was here, honestly.
Well, you know what the cool thing you mentioned about on a high, we don't know what. That's the cool thing about Judas Priest. We don't, and Iron Maiden, we don't really know what to expect. A little bit maybe more for Maiden than Judas Priest, but I like that about them. I like the fact that both bands are still willing to take chances. Maybe they're not doing the creative leaps they were doing in the 70s and 80s, but they're not afraid to take chances. They're not afraid to challenge their audience. And for that, both bands should be applauded.
And especially at their age and how long those both bands have been around, and they still release albums. They don't have to. They can tour on their old songs alone. They don't need to be creating new music, yet they still do.
Yeah, I mean, look at all these artists that are still doing that. It's funny. I listened to the new Ozzy album. I don't think it's as bad as everyone said it was.
No, it's not. It's better.
Is it better than Ordinary Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it's almost the same blueprint. You know what I mean? The difference is somehow he wrangled Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton to play on it. Like I think Ralph hates it, from what I can tell. From who's been on this show before, who sang on one of your songs. But the problem with Ozzy's album is it's not like these two. It's not artistically challenging. It's almost like we're gonna write this type of song, and we're gonna have guests on here for the publicity, and it's almost like an Ozzy album by numbers, if that makes sense. It doesn't make it a bad album. It just doesn't. I don't think it's an album I'll go back and revisit. But my point is, these two bands are still challenging themselves. And granted, Ozzy's in his 70s, but so is Rob Halford.
Right.
And
and they're putting out quality stuff. And Ozzy,
and I think Ozzy has the capability of putting quality stuff if he gets better collaborators, or stop looking at the charts. I don't know why the albums aren't going to sell what they used to, guys. Just do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, when it's funny, like and I put Randy Rhoads on the pedestal. Those first two Ozzy albums, especially Diary of a Madman, where I felt it was at its creative peak. Randy just brought his style into Ozzy's playing, and it was through his patience and guidance that they were able to construct those songs. And all the credit to Bob Daisley for writing those lyrics. There, I said it. And I'll give Jake credit too, because Bark at the Moon, again, those riffs. I mean, with the exception of Slow Down, not Slow Down. I'm sorry. So Tired. Which I listen to that song and I want to, commit seppuku. But that's okay, because even for a song like that, you got songs like Waiting for Darkness or Center of Eternity.
Yeah.
Some of the best songs Ozzy released in his solo material. The quality goes down when you surround yourself with a bunch of yes men.
Yeah, I agree with you. The producer of the Ozzy album is a guy named Andrew Watt. Andrew Watt got to start with Glenn Hughes in California. What was the name of the band?
California Breed, and he ditched them.
Yeah. And the album's pretty damn good, but honestly, I love Glenn Hughes. I'm a huge fan, but it could have been interchangeable with a Glenn Hughes solo album. It didn't really have its identity, that much of a band identity.
Well, at least we still have Black Country Communion,
which is great. Yeah.
Yes.
But I just think the Ozzy album, I like it. I don't love it. I stand by what I said. I think Ozzy is talented. I'm not going to shit on him, but I kind of wish that he would have done it like the old days, sat in a room with Zakk Wylde and the producer and hammered it out, or whoever he's going to collaborate with. Anyway, Wayne?
Well, I don't think we'll ever get that again. But
no,
going back to the Priest and Maiden stuff, what are we going to give Priest, Lou?
Priest, Greg gives it a 9,
Greg gives it a 9.
and I give it a 10.
You give it a 10. And what about you, Manny?
I give it a 10.
Oh, 10. All right. And what about Maiden? Oh, I give that a 9. So, and then what about Maiden, Lou?
Both Greg and I give it a 7.
Oh, a 7, huh? Okay, fine. Be like that.
And I give it an 8.
And you give it an 8. And I give it a 9. So, even though Judas Priest won this round, Iron Maiden is the clear winner of who is the best between Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. It is Iron Maiden with 8 and Judas Priest with 6.
That's a matter
Oh,
of
you're
opinion.
wrong. Judas Priest is way better, but that's my opinion. Anyway,
Well,
go
this
ahead.
is the official ruling now. Nobody else can say Judas Priest is better than my Iron Maiden. This is official. Iron Maiden is better.
Well,
than
we're
Judas
gonna
Priest.
have to redo it though, because we were supposed to do Final Frontier with Matter of Life and Death. So we
Actually,
botched that.
you know what we should do is when we come
Fire
back.
James, I agree.
Well,
No.
Fire James, but also we should go back and listen to all the live albums and then rank all those.
Oh, go fuck that. I'm not doing
What-
that.
What's
No.
next? Halford versus Dickinson
Yeah,
solo
I'm
output.
not-
Good idea.
I'm not fucking doing that.
How about this? How
Oh,
about Paul Diano versus Al Atkins solo output?
Paul Diano would clearly win.
And we'll throw in Dave Evans solo output
Oh
too.
my God.
Oh God. Oh God.
No, we
Dave Evans versus Jordy. That's what we do.
Well, on that show, we should have Jesse as a guest.
You're like, what are you lot talking about? You're a bunch of wankers.
Too funny. But yeah, so from now on, if anybody asks you who do you like better, Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, just tell them Rat Salad Review said Iron Maiden is the best. And
That's insane, but all right. We'll go.
Yeah, I'm with Manny.
Yeah, that's insane, but we'll go with that.
Anything else? I guess the show is over. And like I mentioned earlier in the episode, that this will be our final episode for quite a while. So anything else going on? What do you got going on, Lou?
What do I got going on? Well, as I mentioned last night at the end of our Night of the Living Dead episode, I have a couple of episodes of Music is Life podcast that I'm currently editing. One is an interview I did with Willie Merwin, Professor Willie Merwin, the author of The Meaning of Metallica. I also have the gentleman behind Gene Simmons' Moneybag Sodas. I have Signal to Noise, which again, I have to thank Michael Brandvold of Michael Brandvold Marketing for those 2 interviews. And I had my buddy Matt Michelow on talking about his production work, as well as I got to interview an artist that he recently produced out of Indonesia, which was pretty cool. It's my second international musician to have on the show after Sasha Gersner of Halloween. And on top of that, I actually just did a song with Matt for his Michelow Beats project. So, it was funny. Like, he sent me the beat. It was sort of like not a calypso, it was a soca beat. And he sent me the actual music. And I was like, this is cool. I asked him, do I have permission to change it around? And he said, yeah, do what you got to do. So like, I just threw in like this A-A-G-A-A-G-A-A. Like, I threw that in there and I just started doing like chords over it. And I just started layering. He's like, you son of a bitch. What do you expect me to do with it now? It's perfect. So that was pretty cool. I wrote a soca song. So yay.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yes. Let's see the everybody in Miami dance in the rain till they're hot and sweaty in the summer sun. And let's just have fun with it. Music is life. What can I say? That's what we do.
Did you get clearance from Severed Angel to do that though?
What the fuck is this? Eddie Van Halen recording Beat It from Michael Jackson? Forget it. I'm not going to ask for clearance.
I don't remember you getting clearance for that, but I'll let it slide. I won't tell anybody.
That's okay, because I just told everybody.
Oh, shit. We are live. All right.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Hey, man, I'm a musician. I do what I do,
well,
but Severed Angel's our baby. So
you're good at pretending, at least. Manny.
Yeah, nothing going on. You can move on.
Well, your friends at Chin Up Tits Out, are they doing anything?
Yeah,
Are they hot?
they put out a podcast every week, and there should be one out, I believe, tomorrow.
Oh, very
So,
cool. Anything good?
Yeah, their last one was pretty good. It was about they kind of funny because they start out really funny and then at points they get very serious about their lives because they were talking about when they went to jail and it starts very
Oh, really?
lighthearted. Yeah.
Oh, that's not
And it,
serious subject matter.
well, it wasn't like jail, like, dumb teenage crap is basically, if they've been arrested is really, but one of them had a really serious story and like, so it's fine because they start out and they're really funny and you can tell they're very smart women. And then somewhere along the line, they tell one of these stories like, my God, that is really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So,
That's like the
and then
Lou Mab
then
story.
they start talking about, bullshit again, which is
Yeah.
fine, which is what people like, but it's very cool podcast. So.
Cool.
I don't think
Yeah.
we've ever gotten serious on Rat Style Review. We're too goofy. We're
Um,
we're
The serious we've ever gotten was when Troy beat his son. That was about it.
when Troy beat his son.
We
Yes.
weren't. Me and Lou weren't part of that. This is
No.
before you got your classic lineup together, Wayne.
Are you sure you're not talking about when a certain uncle character slapped his stepson?
No, that wasn't on here.
That wasn't on Rat Style Review.
No, we're talking about Troy. Yeah.
Troy Nor
Yeah.
slapped his son.
Oh, I don't know what he did. I just heard a noise in another room.
PBA on Troy Nor,
Dude?
the man who never returns our messages.
Why
He was supposed to come on the show, but something happened.
The man who approached me at the D. Snyder record release show saying, "Hey, you took my job."
He took.
Oh,
your
what do you
job.
replace? Well, if he wants to come back, I'll let him take.
No,
my place.
Manny, you
He
staying.
doesn't want to. Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah,
wanna come back.
he won't look as cool as me. So,
No,
but
he won't.
We have to tell Rocky Baya in Indonesia to create a puppet for you and James.
It's coming. It'll definitely come. Anything else? Severed Angel is releasing our Halloween song "Bump in the Night" this Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Hit the I don't know what do you hit on that thing, save or something. I don't know what you do for that.
Go to our link tree, Severed Angel. You can get access to
It's
our
spelled weird. Can
Bandcamp
you
from
type
there.
in like link tree, or do you have to type link and then dot tree, or
It's
however it's spelled?
linktr.ee/.
Yeah, that's retarded.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but yes, linktr.ee/Severed Angel. And that has all the links to our social media, to our YouTube, to our Bandcamp, to our iTunes, Spotify. I don't think I have Amazon on there, but all that is there. The .com should hopefully be up soon. And we actually just got our latest track mastered today. And I think we're looking at a December release for that, but it sounds really good. So
yeah, okay, pretty cool. Anything else? Oh, I just did an interview with Stu Marshall, so that will be up probably next week, and have another one later, and then one tomorrow. But so there will be some other episodes, but obviously they won't be live. So after those are done, I'm done, and we will see you when we see you. And until then, go to ratsaladreview.com. There will be our other shows. The other shows that are on the network will still be up there. Lou Maz will put his shows on the podcast and wherever else he wants to put them on the YouTube channel, whatever. And so will Mark and Jerry BS Sessions and Metal Thrashing Nerd. They'll still be on there as well. And Just the Cheese, Please. And I think that's it, right?
Yep. And thank you again to Mark Alvin Taylor, Freeform Rock Show, for having us as guests on his show. So
Yep. And it will probably show up on his show at some point. So keep your eyes open, keep them peeled. So again, thank you very much for watching the show this year. And thank you also as well to the subscribers that have just subscribed the last 2 days. We're up to 853. And if we get to 1,000 subscribers, 1,000, we will not only give you a copy of the Def Leppard tribute album that Rat Salad Review is on, but I will also upload an interview that me and Lisa Mann did with Matt Thompson from King Diamond. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you want to see that interview.
good stuff.
It's been in the vault for quite a long time, and it needs to be unveiled because it was a very fun interview. So we will see you guys hopefully rather sooner than later. Goodbye.
Thanks for all your support. Demoni.
Wayne, would you fucking stop live?